Hey there! Welcome to tutorial number 10 of the Easy jQuery series, part of easyprogramming.net. In today's tutorial, we're going to take a brief look at the Animate method in jQuery. The Animate method is a great way to visually show changes as they're happening to your code. The method takes 4 arguments: the properties, duration, easing, and a complete callback function. Only the properties is required, the others are optional, but we'll briefly touch on all of them. The properties argument should contain CSS properties and values, just like what we see here. The duration is in milliseconds or certain keywords like slow or fast, which defines a number of milliseconds in the back. The easing is just either a swing or linear. By default, it's swing. You won't really see a lot of differences with the examples that I'm showing you, but feel free to play around with them outside of this tutorial. And the last one is the complete callback function, which will trigger a function after the animation has been completed. So let's take a look at our code and build something with the Animate method. What you have in front of you is just a box. It's a version of the box that we created in our last tutorial where we went over the CSS method. The only difference is that I have a margin auto so that the box is centered. The goal here is to, instead of clicking the box where it would randomize the color, we would increase the size of the box by a certain number of pixels. So let's start typing and target our box with the jQuery selector. And we'll do on click, because we're still doing the click event handler. We'll do function. Let's close it. And we'll target this box and do animate. Inside the parentheses, we will do width plus equals 100. Let's do this, copy it over, we'll do height plus equals 100. So the animate function can take mathematical equations. So what I'm doing here is it says take whatever width is right now. In our case, it's 100 pixels. Let me scroll it up a little bit more. And our height, which is 100 pixels, and add 100 to it every time the box is clicked. It's pretty simple and it's pretty straightforward. So let's run it. Remember, duration, easy, and complete are optional, so I'm leaving those out for now. So if I click on this, you can see that every time I click on it, the width and the height increases by about 100 pixels. I can click on it as many times as I want, but let's kill that. That was going really fast. So let's add the duration property, the duration argument, and say, do it in 1,000 milliseconds, so that's 1 second. So let's update and run it. Now if I do it now, you can see it's much slower. If you want to be really slow, you can do 5,000 milliseconds, which is 5 seconds, and you can see it's really super slow, and that can get annoying. The next example that I want to show you is this button where it says scroll down. Once you click on the scroll down, the idea is to then it will animate the scroll down to where it says scroll to me. You'll see this in many websites where you click on a button and it scrolls down very smoothly to the next section, or you have a button at the very bottom and it scrolls up very smoothly to a previous section without just jumping. So let's do that in our code. I'll explain the completed scroll function here in a minute. So let's target our scroll button, which I call scroll down. Again, we're going to do click again, and we'll do function. Let's close this, and then we'll do we'll target the HTML. Animate. I'll explain this after I'm done typing. So we'll do scroll top. Scroll to me, which is the ID of the scroll to me thing here. There's just a bunch of line breaks here. Scroll to me dot offset dot top. Okay, let me explain what this does. So we're targeting the HTML, meaning we're targeting this whole section here, not just the body. We're testing the HTML. If you want to see where I got this, you can right click inspect here, and then if you scroll up, you can see that this whole section here, as it's highlighted as I highlight here, is its own web page. just embedded into an iframe inside of JS Fiddle. That's the first part. Second part is that one of the options that you can set in Animate is something called scroll top, capital T, and what happens is that if you do scroll to top, let me actually show this, console.log. So by default, let's actually run it. Let's open up console, and if I do scroll down, you see it scrolls down here. This is the offset, so this takes the top value of the height, so it's at 819 pixels from the top, 819.553 blah 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 from the top, and it says, you know, take me to, you know, 819. So if I get rid of this and I do, you know, 819.5535, etc., it's going to have the exact same effect because that's where it is. The only reason that we do this instead of putting in a number is that what if it's a dynamic page and the page height changes from time to time, because then it would not work the way you're expecting it to. So the offset.top gets the topmost height of this element here and inputs it into the scroll top property as its value. I hope that kind of makes sense. You might have to play around with it just to get better at understanding the scroll top function. You can find more information on the Animate page on the jQuery API documentation. So that we can see that it happens pretty quickly. To make it a little bit smoother, let's do, you know, let's say, you know, take 1,000 milliseconds to do it. We'll scroll down. You can see it's much smoother. Scroll down. 2,000 milliseconds. It's much slower. So depending on the size of your website, you may want to look into what delay would work best. The next thing is we can go over the easing, but you won't really see much of a difference. So I'm going to skip that and go straight to the completed callback function, and we'll call it completed scroll, which I defined down here as just logging to the console where it says completed scroll. Pretty simple, right? So we have it here. Now I'll run it and I'll do scroll down, and as you can see, after it completed scroll, I get a log that says completed scroll. See it one more time. So scroll down, it's completing it. Now it's completed scroll. So it will trigger after the scroll is complete. So if on your website you need someone says, you know, sign up, and after it scrolls down to the sign up form, you know, you do a thank you modal or something. Just an idea. But anyways, I hope the Animate method in jQuery is a little helpful to you. I hope I've taught you a little bit here. Feel free to check out the Animate documentation side. There's a lot of information here and a lot more examples. Thanks for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, please do ask in the comments below or on easyprogramming.net. I do have more tutorials planned in the future, so if you have any suggestions for future videos, please let me know. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great one.